our panel discussion. Here is my first question. Welding and cutting technologies are evolving rapidly, incorporating automation, sustainability, and efficiency improvements. In your opinion, what is the most significant transformation in this space today, and how is it shaping the future of infrastructure repair and development? I pose this question to all our panelists, starting with Mr. Yadav.
So there are two different answers to this. It depends on what industry segment you are in. For example, if you are in automotive, for you, robotic is something which is most important. If you don't shift to robotics, you are actually not very, very competitive. So for you, no option but to shift to robotic. That is number one. If you are into infrastructure, if you are into structural welding, maybe many places where robotic might not be useful, but definitely you have to move towards automation, which is more of mechanized one. And that is where which will help you in maybe increasing your productivity, improving your quality, will reduce the dependence on the skill of the operator or the welder. And that is where you can, move your up the curve. And then in both the cases or across the industry, the IoT is something which is very, very, important. You have to adopt, means kind of the smart factories or something. Today, even if you look at the automotive industries, people like Mahindra, if you look at their shop floor, everything is controlled. And that's where maybe in welding industry or welding also has to move, where they have all entire across all the stations, they need to capture the data and then of course analyze the data, see the cost and see all those, then how to improve on, the quality, productivity and the skill and everything. So these are maybe, more of industry segment, more on application, but then maybe robotic, mechanized, and maybe the IoT, which are the three things which are very, very critical in this kind of business today's, competitive environment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your thoughts. Mr. Mohit Bhalla, what is your take on this?
See, as it is very rightly said by Sir, IoT is the future. I would like to explain you this with a very, easy example. So I got a car which is Hyundai, and I went to back to the service center saying the average of the car is not that good, right? What they claim for. So they immediately connected my car to the app, and that what they find out is that I have been using my car to a very, very short distances. I've been not driving very far off, like going for the long distances, right? And what they also concluded is like if I'm traveling, I'm completing 10 kilometers journey in maybe 1 hour's time or 30 minutes time. But otherwise, if you are driving on the highway, it will take only 10 minutes time. So the data was completely there for me that it is not the car fault, it is where the city I am driving at, the peak hours I am driving at, this give me that data. So data is very, very important these days. When we see these welding machines today, it comes with this IoT technology. You can fix up the pan drives with them, and there's a lot of data comes back to us. What is the total gas they use? How many times the arcing has been getting done? Who is the you can check that same machine giving the different kind of a productivity and the performance with X welder, and the same machine giving the different kind of a productivity and performance with the Y welder. So this data tells us where to improve, where you can decrease the cost, how you can get be more efficient. So this is, of course, this is again the same opinion I do have.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your insight. Dilip, sir,
Hi.
do you want to add something?
Yeah, we have go for the automated cutting also. That is
Okay.
laser cutting, CNC plasma cutting and all. We have to go. And then machine learning also we have to learn about how the machine learning is done. Okay.
Thank you, sir. So my next question is for Mr. Lajpat Yadav. Can you share some insight on how Ador Welding is integrating sustainability into welding and cutting process to align with India's green infrastructure goals?
Yeah, I think we are very much aligned. And if you look at the presentations which is there, the kind of technologies which are available, maybe people might feel that, these technologies which are high productivity solutions or these IoT solutions, maybe the market perception is that maybe global leaders coming from outside India only have those technologies. But then we have already proven it. And the initiative which is Make in India, that it's not that only the global leaders or the market leaders can really do that. the market leaders in India can also do it, making those products within India. And that's what I think is the change which this government also wants to bring in, that the technologies which are available globally can also be built in India. The kind of smart kind of solutions which I showed it to everybody, those are the things which are at par with anybody global, big giants. And they can beat anybody today. And those are all manufactured here in India with all components coming from India. So that's the kind of, the bar which we are actually increasing for all other industries also, that if you have that vision, you can do it in India.
Thank you, sir, for explaining that. Mr. Bhalla, skill development is crucial in preparing the workforce for next gen welding. What are the most crucial skill gaps you observe in the industry today, and how can they be addressed?
See what Mr. Dilip also clearly said. When you go back to the welders who've been into this industry from maybe 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, and even if you ask them what electrode they are using, right, they don't know even the name of the electrode. There's a lot of gap there. People are still using the old traditional machines. They are not still upgraded. When we shift people, when we guide people to move away from the traditional methods to the some kind of an automations or robots, the basic problem comes is the mindset first, right? They don't want to change. This is the biggest problem. Second is, when you need to coach people to use even robo, so you need to have some basic, you can say the, communication skills, the basic knowledge, the basic maths behind that, the basic logic behind that. So this is the biggest difficulty which we face, telling people that this is how you can set things. Today the COVID has made us learn that how to use the virtual things for us. That is today's new norm, you can say. So again, after that, I have seen that people now come onto the mobile. They tell us now this is what is happening. That is again technology again. Somehow helping us to move that, but still there is a lot of gap. We need to train people just not onto welding, but onto their communication skills, onto their bit of an education perspective also. That is the basics also. That is very much required.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Dilip Chavan, with
Yes,
your experience in both fabrication and welding engineering, what are the common mistakes welders make, and how can proper training help mitigating them?
that they don't know any, the basics, what electrodes they are using, what WPS they are using, or what current they should use, what voltage they should use. That is very important because welding is depends on welding input is depends on current, voltage, and travel speed, and they don't know all these things. That was actual hands-on practical training is very important in our industry. That is very important. Hands-on experience.
Thank you, Mr. Dilip Chavan. My next question is for Mr. Yadav. In context of maintenance and repair, what innovative welding technique do you see gaining traction for extending the lifespan of aging infrastructure?
Yeah, this is, I think, something which is really a very good question, and that's what maybe that's what the market is looking at. And if I give you one simple example here, if you look at the railway tracks, okay, in India, of course, this is one of the biggest network, globally. And if you look at those tracks, earlier, the kind of the repairing which has to be done is on the basis of around 80 GMT. That's a load which has to cross through those tracks, and then only that those joints will be again rewelded or repaired and all that. Now, this is a simple example. What railway is now looking at, or the technologies what we have, we are moving that 80 GMT to 150 GMT. Look at the change which is happening, and look at the savings which maybe the Indian Railways will have. That rather than replacing or doing rewelding or maybe joining that again after 80 GMT to maybe 150, which is almost doubling it. There is a huge saving, and that is where the industry is looking at it. whether it is roller repair, whether it is cement, the roller repairs, whether it is in case of power or steel mills, the roller repairing. What they are looking at is the kind of solutions which will enhance the life or double the life of that rebuilded or the builded material which is coming. So these are the technologies which are available, and these are available from India. We need not to go outside. We need not to look at outside. And we, an Indian company, have those solutions, and we are competing at par with maybe any of the global player and giving a solution which is 150 GMT, okay, and which is, in fact, we are proving and showing it and getting it approved from RDSO and from maybe from railways. So these are the technologies which are available, will change the whole scenario in the coming years, coming months. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that insight, sir. Mr. Mohit Bhalla, how can industries and training institutions collaborate better to ensure that welding professionals are equipped with the latest technological advancement in the field?
See, it is all we need to aware first of all to the all the specifically I will focus on to the MSMEs, with the latest technologies. I've been seeing and attending many exhibitions now and then, and seeing there's a lot of exposure to new technologies, and there are multiple owners that have been visiting to these exhibitions and visiting the latest technologies. The mindset change is very much required. There is there should be proper the calculative methods should be shown to the the owners of the organizations, that what is going to be them to benefit when they shift from the traditional methods to the the automation or using the robots. So that is very much required, and certainly the technology should not come for a very high cost. That should be it should be reasonable. It should be an optimum. So that is what is required.
Thank you for your explanation, sir. Dilip, sir,
Yeah.
how do welding, bracing, and soldering compare in terms of application, and where do you see the most advancements happening in these techniques?
I already told, welding is commonly used in construction, automotive, aerospace, and heavy industries for joining thick section metal sections. And brazing is used generally for plumbing, HVAC, electrical applications for joining thin materials and situations where high temperatures are undesirable. Okay, and soldering is typically used in electronics, electrical, and plumbing applications for joining the thin sections and situations where low temperatures are required. Okay, what is the advantages? Welding is advantages: strong joints, high temperature resistance, versatility. Limitations क्या है इसमें? It requires high input, can be slow and may require post weld processing. Okay, and brazing having advantages is lower heat input, faster process, and suitable for thin sections. And limitations: weaker joints compared to welding and may be required fluxes. And soldering is the advantages: low heat input, fast processes, suitable for thin sections. And limitations क्या? Weaker joints compared to welding and brazing and may require fluxes. Okay. Advantages for welding: robotics and automation can be done in welding. Okay. New advanced materials can be developed. Okay. And brazing, new brazing alloys, development of new brazing alloys can be developed to improve the strength of the brazing. Okay. And soldering having lead-free solders that can be developed. Okay. In a future way. So
Thank you, sir.
outlook is the welding, brazing, and soldering industries continue to involve the advancement in material science, digitalization, automation, okay, and strive to improve the efficiency, quality, and sustainability. These joining techniques will play a crucial role in shaping future of manufacturing and construction.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Coming back to Yadav, sir, given your leadership in strategic partnership, what are the key challenges in adopting smart welding solution at scale, and how can they be overcome?
Is it for us, the manufacturers, or is it for the customers?
For the manufacturers.
For the manufacturers, there are many things. For example, if you look at maybe in India, there are components which might not be available, or maybe when you look at the cost of those components, because when you move towards the technology, okay, or second, maybe, those kind of cost which we get for those components in India is really high. And one of the reason could be that the scale is not there. Okay, whereas maybe when you go to China or maybe go to other European maybe countries, you have that scale which is there, and that scale will help you to reduce that cost. Unfortunately, we are still in fact evolving stage, we are still moving that path. And once the industry really, MSME or middle kind of industries start adopting these new technologies, high productivity solutions, I think that is the time when the demand will be really high, and could be possibly we can get those components at a much, competitive price. Today, getting those components at a competitive price is something which is really a challenge for us. And many of
Okay.
those components, not only in equipment, but also in case of consumables, the chemicals, the availability of chemicals for high-end consumables, which really you don't have options, you have to bring it from outside.
And for the customers, what are the challenges you experienced?
For customers, again, one of the things I think what maybe Mohit is talking about is the skill, that is one maybe which is, something very, very important. And of course, Government of India and especially, Prime Minister is doing a lot of on skill development. And we are also maybe part of that. And we are looking at that, people are moving on that curve where a lot of emphasis on the skill development. That is one we have seen, especially when the automotive industry is moving towards, robotic solutions. The kind of people who are available, who can maybe, handle program and all that, is still something which I think has to really move at a much faster pace. You have people, but then the demand is much more than the supply today.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mohit Bhalla, can you share an experience of how your firm has introduced a game-changing approach to workforce readiness in welding?
So what we are doing is, we are collaborating with some institutes like polytechnic institutes, and at the same time, we are also working with the industries. We are educating them. We are trying to do these collaborations with each other, giving them the vocational trainings at the institutes, trying to make them learn what is the importance of the welding today, what is the job opportunities available. So we are educating them, we are making them aware, and this is what we are working on. I think these small steps, when will be collectively taken by the industries, and the institutes, various other institutes related to welding, this can be the game changer, of course. And of course, the manufacturers, we cannot forget about them.
Thank you, sir. Dilip, sir,
Ah,
what role do global training standards play in enhancing India's welding workforce? And how can we bridge the gap between international and domestic certification frameworks?
there is a global standardization. It is a standardization. Global standards ensures consistency in training and certifications, enabling the Indian welders to compete globally. Okay, that gives the improve the quality, increase the employability and knowledge sharing with the global market. That is very important for a globalization. It gives the welder to give what is going on in a global state. It gives the high educations to welders. To what is actually they should not think about they are doing just like drill work and all. You are a welder. You are just like a doctor. Okay, your doctor is making surgery. That same thing is they are doing by welder. He is also joining. He's joining the metal instead of that woman. So he should feel that he is a professional. So that type of approach we have to develop in our country. That is very important.
Thank you, Dilip, sir. My last question is for all the panelists. What important message do you want to leave with industry professionals wanting to implement smart and green welding and cutting solutions? Let's start with Mr. Yadav.
The two things, in fact, that if we have to be ahead of this curve and we have to be competitive, one is adopt that high productivity solutions. Don't be afraid of adopting that high, and kind of solutions, high productivity solutions, which will help you a lot. That is number one. Number two, you have no option but to adopt IoT, artificial intelligence, or you have to have that smart factory. That investment will not give you return on investment immediately, but that's the need of the hour. You will see, and these two are something which doesn't start from the bottom. These two starts from the top. So the owners, in fact, have to really look at it, and they have to really see that we have no option. If we have to stay in this market, we have to be competitive, and we are sustainable, or we have to grow. We have to adopt the new technology, and we have to adopt that Industry 4.0 or IoT or artificial intelligence to be competitive in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Yadav, sir. Dilip, sir, what's your take on this, sir?
We have to, if you want to improve the quality, improve the productivity, improve the environmental situations, and stay competitive, you have to go for the robotics. That is a mandatory. And there is a in future manpower challenge is going to come. So embracing the digitalization and sustainability is a key to future proofing of your welding and cutting operations.
Thank you, Dilip, sir. Mr. Bhalla, what you want to say about this?
I think it's a very well said by both these speakers, and it is the complete ecosystem which needs to be changed. Only one thing improving at one side cannot, change the system. Starting from the manufacturers, from the customers, to the dealers, to the training institutes, to the education system, to the policies from the government. From everywhere, there should be support, some effort to be given. Then only we can definitely grow in this industry. And this is a need of an hour. This is very much important. India is a growing company, it is fastest growing economy, and this is required. The complete ecosystem has to be on place now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all the panelists for your valuable insights and engaging discussion. We appreciate your time and expertise.